Anyway, we're glad that you're here, and we're actually going to start a new series today, and I don't know, let's see if the PowerPoint will get up there. It's called Better Together, okay? And I've got the image of a tandem bike up there because I love riding tandem bikes by myself. Because when I rode one with my wife, we'll get into that story, but I've got a question. How many of you have been on a tandem bicycle before? Raise your hand high. I want to see how many people. Do any of you own a tandem bicycle? You don't? Okay, because I'm looking for one. I want to, like, maybe next week, if you can, someone can find a tandem bike, I think it'd be cool to ride in here and do some wheelies or something. It'd be fun. But anyway, yeah, Jose, can you turn me down a little bit? Anyway, we're excited about this new series. We're going to be talking about relationships, okay? And relationships are extremely important. They're important to God. He tells us, we're going to see here in a minute, that they're extremely important for us. Life is all about relationships. And I've used the image of the tandem bike for a few reasons. A few years ago, Lori and I went on a cruise, like a 3-day cruise to Catalina Island and then Ensenada. Is Lori in here? I hope she's not in here. She's gone with the kids. All right. So this is the real story, okay? We go on this cruise, and we go to Catalina Island that day. Have you been to Catalina? Raise your hand. Oh, most of you. Okay. So anyway, we didn't rent a buggy or anything like that. We rented a tandem bike. I go, this is going to be fun, right? I grew up riding bikes. Like I have a bunch of bikes at home. I even have a unicycle. We'll probably bring that in. I don't know. Anyway, we'll do unicycle riding. But anyway, I'm all about bikes, and she's, whatever. She didn't ride bikes a lot or whatever. And so she says she wants to be in the front. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. She wanted to be in control, right? And so let's get on. And so we get on the tandem bike, and we start going, and she's, real wiggly. And, there she is. Dang it, she just walked in. The story may change a little bit right now. But anyway, this is the truth. And it's going to get me in trouble. I'm already in trouble as it is because Lori hates this shirt, okay? She hates this shirt with a passion, and I wore it anyway, right? And so I've been... I'm just going to go. It's a bad day already, so I'm just going to make it worse. But anyway, so I was trying to wear these red shoes. Everyone see the red shoes? And I didn't have like a shirt that went with the red shoes. And I'm looking all through my shirts, and this literally was the very last shirt, like back in the corner. I'm like, I'm wearing it anyway. Okay, so she says I look like Brooks and Dunn wannabe. But anyway, so I'm already in bad graces with her. But anyway, so the real story is we're on Catalina Island, and she wants to get in front. And we're starting to go, and I'm pedaling in the back, and she couldn't do it. Like, she couldn't get going and steer us, and I'm too fat or something. I don't know. She was blaming me, of course. And so we couldn't really do it. And she's like, you're going to have to get in the front. And I'm like, good. That's where I wanted to be anyway. I want to steer. I want to pop the wheelies. I can control the gears, stuff like that. And so she gets in the back. I just spit. That was gross. So we start heading around town. And then those of you that have been, have you ever been to the botanical gardens, like up that long road? Okay. We returned there a few years ago, and this is what we took to get up there. We took a golf cart. Okay. How many of you took the golf cart ride? You were smart, right? So last year or 2 years, I don't know when this was, 2 years ago, Brody has long hair, so last year, anyway, we went back and I said, I'm not doing the tandem bike again, and you'll know why here in a second. We got a golf cart. Most people rent golf carts because it's a mountain. You're on basically a huge mountain in the sea. So we start riding the bike, and it's okay, it's not too bad, but then the incline starts to get pretty steep, or at least it seems a lot harder for me to pedal. But the rate of me pedaling doesn't seem to correspond with the grade because the grade wasn't that bad. And I'm trying to look back, and she's like, I'm pedaling. And I can't really look back because I'm trying to steer, and it's big. And she's like, I'm pedaling. I'm like, I know you're not pedaling back there because it's like tough. And then this golf cart, just like this, comes down, and this dude yells, she ain't pedaling, right? And I knew it. And so then she put her feet on the pedals, and I know she wasn't actually pedaling. They were just there for looks. Do you know what I mean? And I pedaled our butts all the way up there. And so then I try, okay, I'm going to scare her on the way down. So like no brakes all the way down, and so it was our anniversary trip. But anyway, have you ever been on one of those situations where you're on, like we did this. We rented one of those, right? Same thing. There's like 6 people in it, and everyone's supposed to pedal. Who's pedaling? Dad's pedaling. Everyone else is just having a good time, right? So that was at the KOA. So I've learned not to, if I'm going to pedal, it's my own bike, right? And so anyway, but the idea of a tandem bike is pretty simple. You're there together. I'm going to go back so you can see it. You're there together. You got to work together. You got to steer. And I want you to have that picture over this series. I want you to kind of have that mental picture of a tandem bike because, you got to help each other balance. You got to work together. There's both of you working together, not like Lori and I, okay, me doing all the work and her just sitting back. In a relationship, if you're the one that does all the work, if you're in the back pedaling and the other person is steering but not pedaling, you're mad now, right? Because you're doing all the work and they're directing where you go. Now you have no control. You're just like a slave, right? Or you may be the person in the back and you're pedaling and they're pedaling too, but they're directing and you don't have any say. All you see is the back of their head, right? Or, there's a lot of situations that we can kind of draw some similar situations to relationships. And so we're going to use that kind of icon, that image in your brain through this series to get you to think about those things. And we're going to talk about different types of relationships. Today we're going to talk about friends, okay? Next week we're going to talk about dating. The week after that, marriage. And then the week after that, kids. And each of those relationships kind of takes on a different dynamic in your life. You don't treat your kids the way you treat a friend or you treat your wife or whatever. And so each of those relationships has its own boundaries and its own things. And so we're going to talk kind of quickly about those because we only got 4 weeks to do all this. And so we really could take 4 months to talk all about that. But anyway, there's different rules and different boundaries and things like that. But relationships are important, okay? Even if you're a person that says, I'm all about me, I don't have a lot of friends, I don't need a lot of friends, you're telling yourself a lie, okay? There's probably some hurt, there's some whatever. The reality is we all need friends. We all need relationships in our life. In fact, we've been designed to be in relationship with God and with each other. And so those are the things we're going to talk about. In fact, Jesus elevated the idea of relationships greatly, and we'll see that here. All three, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, all record this same conversation that Jesus had with someone. Here it goes. It's in Matthew chapter 22. It's also in Mark and in Luke. And many of you, whether you've grown up in church, whether this is your first week, you've probably heard about this verse before or something like it. This is similar to the golden rule, okay? It's not the golden rule, but very similar. Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. Teacher, someone's asking Jesus, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And he said to them, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the great and foremost commandment. Okay, so we're going to continue. Verse 39. So he's saying, love God with everything you've got. Okay, then he continues. Jesus continues here and he says, the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend the whole law and the prophets. So Jesus says, love God with everything you've got and love your neighbor as yourself. It's about relationship vertically and relationship horizontally with those around you. You've got to have a relationship with God, love Him with everything. You also have to love the people around you, your friends, your kids, people you're dating, people you're married to, whatever. You've got to love them like you love yourself. And so it's an extremely important topic for us to cover in church, okay? We need to know what God's perspective on these things are. And so today, like I said, we're going to talk about friends, okay? And no better, in my opinion, no better thing to think about than a tandem bike. We're talking about friends. Sometimes tandem bikes destroy friendships, okay? Just like with Lori and I. It didn't destroy ours, but it could have. We all need friends, okay? We all need friends. Even if you say to yourself, I don't need any friends, you're lying to yourself. We all need friends. And there's all kinds of different people in the world. You've got extroverts that have maybe a lot of friends. They don't have any trouble making friends. And quite frankly, lots of extroverts have a lot of acquaintances, right? But not necessarily great friends. And you've also got the introverted people who maybe have 2 or 3 really good friends, but not a lot of acquaintances. They'd rather just kind of hang out onesies or twosies. You've got the extroverts that maybe have 1,000 or 2,000 acquaintances. And I was just in Walmart last night, and I saw someone I knew, this guy. And you guys, do you do this? I'm trying to figure out what ladies do. Do you guys do this when you see someone you know? You do this, the what's up, right? The head up thing. They're like, what's up? You don't even have to say it, right? You just like, what up, right? Like, we do that. Guys do that in Walmart, like, because I'm not walking all the way across the aisle to go shake your hand and say, hi, I got a basket full of groceries. What do ladies do? I was trying to figure this out last time. I'm thinking, what do ladies do? When you see someone, yeah, you do that dumb wave thing. Hey, like, I don't know. What do you do? Like, I've seen a lot of guys that do. Any ladies, you ever do that? I've never seen, Jessica does it. Does any of you other ladies do the what's up thing? You rarely see a woman do that, and you rarely see guys going, hi, right? Like, it just doesn't work. But extroverts, they'll do that to everybody, right? They're like, what's up? Oh, yo, what's up? What's up, right? And they don't mind just having a lot of acquaintances, and it's not that big of a deal. But an introvert, their head ain't up. It's what? It's down normally, right? And they're in relationship, deep relationship with one or two people. The extrovert may be the life of the party, right? Maybe talking and having a big old comedian or whatever. The introvert will be over here with her two friends talking about that idiot, right? That's what an introvert will do. And so, but everyone needs friends, whether you're really outgoing or you're more, inward focused. We all need friends, okay? It's a fact that we all need friends. And so we're going to look at this verse. This is a verse out of Ecclesiastes, okay? And that's a long word, okay? King Solomon wrote a bunch of wisdom proverbs, these proverbs, okay? And he's talking about life. He'd lived a great life, this crazy life, all kinds of experiences. And look at what he says about friendship. This is Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 through 12. This is going to kind of be our overarching verse for this series. We're going to come back to it here and there throughout this series. He says this, many of you have heard this. It's better to have a partner than go it alone. Share the work and share the wealth. And if one falls down, the other helps. But if there's no one to help, tough. Okay? Two in a bed warm each other. Alone you shiver all night. By yourself you're unprotected. With a friend you can face the worst. Can you round up a third? A 3-strand rope isn't easily snapped. Okay? Now this is out of the Message Bible, so maybe it's whatever different version than what you have. But it's saying, here's King Solomon. I want you to think about this for a second. King Solomon literally had anything that he wanted. Extremely rich, most powerful, most rich person in the known world at that time, right there. Had servants galore. Anyone would do anything for him at the snap of a finger. Hey, go get me this. Help me here. Go do this. Go do that. He had servants galore. He had money galore. He could pay for whatever he wanted to pay for. He had every toy imaginable. Think about this. Servants, toys, everything he could have. And he still said, friendship is important. Okay? Friendship is important. Having people do things for you as servants, as employees, isn't like having a friend. Okay? This is important for us to look at. Now, everyone in here probably has some friends. Okay? Probably has some friends. Hopefully, prayerfully, you have one or two friends that you would say have got your back, like they've got you, they're taking care of you, they have your best interest at heart. Some of you have really long-term friends that maybe have been friends since you were kids, and now you're 120 years old, and they're really old, and some of you maybe have just met someone recently in the last few weeks, okay? Some of your friends are great encouragers. Others of them suck the life out of you, right? You guys all have some of those people that maybe they're not like great friends, but maybe they're childhood friends and forever they've just sucked the life out of you. They're suckers, they're like leeches, right? And you can't get rid of them. You're like, I don't know what to do. Like, we have these friends. Some of you have friends that are boring. Some of you have friends that are weird. Some of you have friends that really encourage you and build you up. We have all types of friends in our life. And some of us, honestly, probably struggle. Okay, struggle making friends. Maybe you're socially awkward or you're so introverted you would never just walk up to someone and say, hey, what's up? Or how are you? Or you would never do the what's up thing, right? Some of us maybe struggle. Maybe you're just a jerk, okay? And nobody likes you because you're just obnoxious or you're the me monster. And so here's the deal. Any of you know the me monster, the guy that always talking about himself? That person that's just like, so me, it's all about competition or whatever. I found this video. I've watched this video probably a million times. It's a dude named Brian Regan, okay? He's a comedian, and he talks about the me monster. I want you to listen to this, and hopefully, prayerfully, none of you are the me monster, okay? And here's why. We're going to show this video, and then we'll get back to it. Here's the deal. If you're a me monster, you probably don't have a lot of friends, okay? And if you do, then you got something going on, okay? I don't know. But here, if you're the me monster, change. Nobody likes a me monster, okay? Here's the deal. Here's what, let's look again at what King Solomon says. It says, it's better to have a partner than go it alone. Share the work and share the wealth. Share the wealth. And if one falls down, the other helps. But if there's no one to help, tough. Now, we're going to stop there because it goes on to talk about the bed. And today we're just talking about friends. And if you're in bed with your friends, it's probably not a friend. But anyway, here we go. So we're going to stop. Bed can be in 3 weeks when we talk about marriage. Anyway, like I said, Solomon had everything there was. Everything that he could ever desire, he had. Okay? But he still said, friendships are extremely important. We need people that we can rely on and that can rely on us. How many of you heard the phrase, hey, I've got your back? Raise your hand if you've got that. I got an awesome picture here, right? I've got your back. The dude literally has his back. I found that on the internet today. The other day I was like, that's awesome. But you've said that probably. That's a very common phrase, I've got your back. Now, does anyone have any clue where that thing originated from? That phrase. Think about it, maybe. Just kind of figure it out. Huh? Fighting? Yeah. Military? Is that what you said, Don? Yeah, absolutely. Now, I looked at the internet, which is always trustful, right? You can anyway. The best I could do was Google it, and so I did, and it came up to that the first use of this term actually originated from another term, I've got your six. Now, I've got your six, is a much more military term. This originated in World War I with the pilots, okay? And a pilot would be flying this plane. His partner would fly behind him. He said, I got your six. Now, what does I've got your six mean? Who knows what that means? Yeah, directly behind you. You got 12 o'clock, and then 6 is directly behind you. They had no way to cover their butt, okay? And so the pilot would say, hey, I've got your 6. I've got you covered. That's translated to, I've got your back. Here's the deal, okay? Just like many of you are probably Star Wars freaks or whatever, new movies coming out, right? The Jedis would many times fight back to back, right? They would go back to back. That way they could take on these guys and he could take on those guys and they'd be fine. Friends, we need to have someone's 6. We need to have someone's back. As a believer in Christ, there should be some people that you are reliable for. Do you know what I mean? That you can say, hey, I've got your back. If there's something that you need, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to take care of you. Georgia, just last week, remember when we said, how can we stay connected, stay close to God? She said one of the ways is to have an accountability partner, to share life with friends, close friends that you can tell them your problems, that you can pray with them, that you can be encouraged by them whenever you're struggling, that you can share your struggles with, okay? That you can share your deepest, darkest secrets with. We need those types of people. We need 1 or 2 people in our lives that we can be that way with, okay? We need one, and hear me, we need 1 or 2, okay? 1 or 2 people that we can be real with in our life, that we can be transparent, because in this world we live in a world that now that social media has taken over, it's like your best foot forward at all times. Do you know what I mean? Like constant mask on in the world that we live in. I mean, how many of you, let me ask you this, how many of you when you take a selfie, right, you're like this, and you just take the first one and post it immediately without looking at it? Nobody does that, right? You take it, and then you run it through like 10 filters or whatever, and then you retake it, and I always take it like this now, you know, like the girls, and that's not to show my cleavage, that's to prevent my double chin, right? So you do that, and you filter it, and you do all that, and like you post the perfect picture to make you look 10 years younger and 10 pounds lighter. None of us ever post the picture that was the real picture, right? Nowadays, we just put our best foot forward at all times, and we have this mask on constantly, right? In the world of Instagram, it's sunsets always. Like when you post a picture of a sunset, it's great and it's beautiful, but the reality of this situation is the reality of the world that we live in. Is if you were to go down, just look down a little bit in this picture, if this person had not cropped the picture, you'd see all the weeds in their yard and the dog poo that is piled up for 6 months. Do you know what I mean? But nobody posts the weeds and the dog poo. They just post the sunset because it's beautiful and it looks good. And that's the world that we live in, friends. We live in a world where we're just putting our best face forward, our best foot forward, the makeup, the mask, the whatever it is. And there's very little room in this world that we live in now to be real with people, okay? To be real with people. We need to be able to be real with some people, okay? Think about all of the happy tweets and the photoshopped this and that. Friends, we need some people that we can be real with. We need some places that we can be real, because they don't exist a lot in the world that we live in today. We need some people that can pray for us and with us, that can encourage us, because in the world that we live in, most people are not out to encourage us. They're out to what? They're out to attack us, try to take our job, try to step on us, try to take advantage of us. The world is not a pretty happy place like it looks like on Instagram, okay? There's a lot of stuff going on, and we need some places where we can be real about things, okay? So here's the challenge for you today, okay? I'm just going to challenge you to do a few things. I want to challenge you to find that one person or those two people that you can be real with, okay? That you can take down the Instagram mask or the Twitter feed or whatever you want to call it, that you can be real with, that you can share your deepest, darkest struggles. Because when you're struggling alone, it's way harder. This is what King Solomon says, harder to struggle alone than with 2 or 3 people alongside you that can encourage you, that can help you, that can pick you up whenever you fall down. Also much better not to celebrate alone, but to celebrate with those people. We need to find 1 or 2 people in our lives that we can be, what Georgia said, an accountability partner. And maybe that sounds scary or freaky or whatever. It's just a close friend that you can be real with, okay? We need to find those types of people in our life. And let me be clear with you. Not your spouse, okay? A lot of you in here are married, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be real with your spouse. Hear me. I'm not saying turn your spouse in for someone else. That's not what I'm saying, okay? You need to find another person, if you're married, that's your same gender, that is not your spouse. And listen why. Because a lot of the struggles that you're going to deal with revolve around your spouse, right? And you need someone, and all of you are laughing, right? You're not going to be able to talk to your spouse about the problems that he doesn't brush his teeth and he pees on the toilet or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, that you're not going to tell him that because it's going to ruin things. But you need that person that you can talk to about those things, right? And so if you're married, certainly, absolutely, transparency, honesty, all of those things with your spouse. But you also need someone outside that marriage, same gender, that you can share those things with, because a lot of those struggles are going to come from your marriage, okay? Now, in my life, and I know this is weird. You're like, okay, what's he going to do? Have everyone raise hands? If I don't have an accountability partner, I'm going to pair you up with her. And no, it doesn't work that way. Here's how it works. You write a little note and you say, will you be my accountability partner? Yes or no? And you pass it, like in junior high, right? Friends, I know it's probably like intimidating. How do I ask someone that? I'm going to tell you real simple. Here's an easy way to kind of start the conversation with someone. It needs to be someone you already kind of know, right? That you already have a bond with. Just go up to them and say, hey, my pastor, and maybe if you're in the same church right here, you can say, hey, remember Augie was talking about accountability partner? I know it's weird, but you want to get together? You want to... Or if it's someone that doesn't go to this church, you can walk up to them and say, hey, Chris, my pastor was talking about, like, I need someone to be real with. And I know it sounds weird, but I'm trying to do what he told me to do. You want to do that? And just be open and honest and transparent and real with them. Because in this world we live in, they're going to be like, well, yeah. They're not going to be able to tell you no, because they're going to be so shocked that you're being real and open and honest with them. And develop that relationship. Develop that relationship with a person in your life that you can pray with. I've got a few of those relationships in my life. I meet with Pastor Bob at Oasis Church on Tuesdays at 8. We get together before our staff meeting there at Oasis, and we pray together. He and I talk about what's going on in each churches. I tell him what I'm struggling with. He prays for me. I pray for him. I also have kind of a three-way accountability partner with Mars and Jason, and we kind of text all this random weird, like if you saw the little chat line between us, I'd probably go to jail. You know what I mean? Like, we'd be on the news, definitely. It's crazy the stuff that happens in between Mars and Jason and I on the chat line. And we're praying for each other constantly throughout the day. Mars will say, hey man, I need some prayer. And Jason will shoot a prayer right there, right? But then we're also talking about dirt bikes or whatever else. We're just good friends, but also there for each other in those tough times, okay? There to encourage each other. You need those types of people in your life. But you also, okay, not only do you need those individuals in your life, but you need a group that you can connect with. And yes, I use the word connect because we have connect groups here at Ekklesia. Okay, it's not a coincidence that I use that word. You need a group of people also that you can do life together with, that you can be real and transparent with, and probably not as transparent as you would be with your accountability partner, okay, so you'd freak everyone out in the group, but a place where you can be prayed for, a place where you can grow in your relationship with God, where you can be encouraged, where you can meet new friends. Diana came this week to our house, and we did cotton candy, and she was there, cotton candy in her hair, blowing everywhere. It's fun, right? And I just, like, she and I have just become maybe friends, acquaintances, as we sat over here Friday night at the carnival selling cotton candy. And she's started coming to our group, and now she's kind of getting involved in things. And it's crazy where you serve together with people, you get to know them. You get to know people when you serve with them. You get to know people whenever you're talking with them and prayer requests are going around and Kaylin shares a prayer request about something. You're like, man, I'm going to pray for that. So we need individual people that we can rely on, that we can trust, but we also need a group of people that can do that. Like, for instance, like when you go to Sears this afternoon and you buy that heavy washer and dryer, right? And you're a single mom and you got no one to help you. You call the dudes at the Connect group and, hey, I just got a washer and dryer. Can you come help me pick it up, right? And they're like, of course we will. Buy us a sandwich. Or say, I don't know what's going to happen, but you need those types of people in your life. And so I want to challenge you today to do that, to find a place. Look at how King Solomon ends the message here. It says this, by yourself, you're unprotected. With a friend, you can face the worst. Can you round up a third? A three-stranded rope isn't easily snapped. Our prayer is that you'd find a place to belong, that you would find a place where you can serve together, where you can be prayed for, where you can pray for people, where you can study the Word. Because, friends, this here is just basically me talking and you listening. It's not really a discussion. Every once in a while I say, hey, what do you think or whatever, but We need to be able to learn from each other. In Connect Group, we actually discuss things and we learn from each other back and forth. And if I've got an idea about something and Darcy's got a different opinion, different outlook, and then Leanne's got a different outlook, we kind of come to a common knowledge or a common bond, and you get to know each other, and you get to learn more about the Scriptures with groups of believers together. And that can't happen here on a Sunday. It's just too big. It's too many people. And so my prayer is that you'd be a part of that discussion through Connect Groups. So today, here's the challenge for you, okay? We're going to close with this. I've got maybe 3, 5, 10 challenges. Here's the first one. If you're not a person that thinks you need friends, you're kidding yourself, okay? You're lying to yourself. You do need friends. You need friends to be there for you. And if you're one of those me monsters, or if you're a jerk and you don't have a lot, you're like, well, I need friends. I want friends, and no one wants to be my friend. You need to take a look at yourself and see what type of friend you're being, right? You need to say, am I being a jerk? Am I a conversation hog? Am I the life sucker to that person? Like, everyone has a life sucker, right, in their life. Man, am I a life sucker, right? Think about that. And if you are, then you need to make some changes. We need to be good friends. As believers, we need to be the best friends there are for people, okay? The second challenge is you need to find that person, 1 or 2 people in your life that you can be real with, that you can share your deepest, darkest secrets with, and say, hey, I need some accountability here. I keep going to that strip club or whatever, and I need to be able to call you whenever I have that temptation, and you walk me out of it, get my brain out of it, or whatever those temptations are, those places where you can go to say, I need help here, or I need help picking up my washer and dryer, or whatever, or hey, my kid just made honor roll and they were Fs last semester. Let's celebrate. Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese with them. We need those types of, Chuck E. Cheese sounds good, right? We need those types of people in our life. And then we also need to be in group with each other. So I want to challenge you to do that. If you don't have those types of friendships, those types of relationships in your life, I think it's extremely important. Solomon thinks it was extremely important. And in fact, he had everything there ever was in this world. And he still said relationships, friendships were important to him and to us. We're going to close. Ushers, why don't you come forward for the offering as I pray.